Rascal Flats, love you out loud. That is a fantastic finisher. This is episode 7 of That's Kinda Cringe, Bro. Alex, how you doing?
Not too bad. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yep. And with that time comes a little change. Almost none, in fact, in some cases.
You know what? We don't need to do any of that. Let's get right into the Rockbusters.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. All right. For Rockbusters, we had no emails. We actually had one comment. Too lazy to get it. It's something along the lines of, it's really a peculiar comment. It's,
Ooh?
Yeah, it's from Swag Incarnate on our latest episode 6. It's a poop dealer brought me here. I truly want to know where that was from.
You know what? We don't need to know. Let's just thank Poop Dealer for bringing him here. Thank you,
Appreciate
Poop
it.
Dealer.
It's nice of you. All right, Rockbusters. All right, we're bidding the Spider-Man code, and we're competing. You guys are competing for a copy of Titanfall 2 on Xbox One. That is this week's for Rockbusters. All right, now the clues for this week. Oh wait, last week's. Yeah. Give me a second.
What do you mean last week's?
Well, I gotta give the answer for last week, because you know.
You know what? It's fine. We'll reuse them in the future. We'll be that guy.
All right. Okay. All right. This week, it's all right. First one. Okay. Remember, as a quick refresher, what Rockbusters are. I give a hint for the title of the video game that it's not the subject of the video game or the story. It's just the title. So, for example, the Acres out in Texas. That is a state. Oh wait. Yeah. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So the borders out in Texas. Texas is a border state. And the acres out in Texas. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. The clue is the acres out in Texas. B. So Texas is a border state and acres is land. The answer is Borderlands.
That's a good game.
I'm a wreck. Yeah.
I mean, you just peeled bananas, so it's all right. We understand.
Quite. For this week, all right, we got one easy clue. At least one. At least one.
The middle one's kind of easy.
Yeah. We got 2 easy clues this week. All right, first one. Out came a kid with a spear wearing armor. She was expecting, but she wasn't expecting that. Initial is B. Second one. With something that huge, how do they not know where it is? Initials LP. Third one. Homer came back to his desk to write his poem, and it was gone. Initials LO. Remember, you can submit those to that'skindofcringebro@gmail.com. Don't do comments. All right? Remember, there's a copy
comment, then you're a failure. Not just in general, in life, like everything.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't want to erase comments because, it's like a basically
you
censorship.
You can comment saying anything you want, but not the answers.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so coming up, we're going to talk about, in general, about stereotypes. It'll be a nice fun chat, and we'll even tie this into a brand new feature we got going on. All right, so Alex, I guess, we'll start. Just
Stereotypes
nice icebreaker.
Sure are something else, eh?
Yeah. Well,
you know what the fancy thing about them is, though?
What?
They seem to evolve year by year. A modern stereotype now, if you would have said cracked a bit of a racist joke about 10 years ago, no one would have understood it.
All right, give an example.
Well, okay. Well, one big example would probably be Asian people do maths.
All right.
15 years ago, I don't think anyone would have really understood the joke.
Well, presumably academia didn't change that much, so I assume Asians got in college, better than other people just as much.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was well known, because Asian countries, the stereotype derives from how Asian countries tend to study a lot more than North America, right? If you're a student in high school, most of the time you leave 7 a.m. and you don't get home till 9. It is quite rough, but that's where the joke kind of comes from, right? And it really started booming, especially when we started getting more immigrants in both countries, Canada and the U.S.
That was 1986 or something, 1969 actually, I think.
Yes, but I mean, it's been a huge rush of immigrants just trying to merge with society, whereas back then, I mean, an example, you guys, even we have Chinatowns, right? Whereas just a sector of a town dedicated to that person. Those aren't as existent anymore. They exist mainly because they used to be, but it's not as, we're from China, so we live here because it's comfortable. It's more like, this is just what our ancestors did 20 years ago.
Fair enough.
And I
imagine having a stereotype of you worked hard and you know, imagine that. Imagine having to like.
I don't even think
love
it's
that
a
as
bad stereotype.
Yeah.
I think the only people that genuinely get offended by it are just bad at math or studying, and they don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Like, if people came up and they were like, haha, little white boy's good at English, I'd go, yes, thank you.
Yes, that is. Yes, we made the language and we are good at it.
We didn't make the language. I'm sorry to tell you.
We have derived it from a Latin language, and our variation of it sounds good. Yes, quite. We are good at what we made.
Our variations used most around the world. Yes. No. What do you want?
Quite. So yeah, you know, like us, you know, we got some bad stereotypes. At least in region house fighting, that is, at least, you know.
Yeah. There's a lot of really, like, there's some bad ones. There's like the good ones, goofy ones even.
Like,
I want to steer clear of some of the bad ones for now, because it gets political. People get too butthurt over it, and honestly, I don't personally care. I don't want.
Let's do it.
I don't.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Break
it.
the chains. Let's do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Ooh, breaking.
Yeah. Good old
chains.
classic joke. Like, for example, you know, classic school jokes. You know, like what convinced you that a Mexican family can't? You know, good stuff. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Classic.
We don't have those jokes here because we don't have Mexicans here.
Yeah. Exactly.
The jokes we have here are mainly between English and French culture, and they're not that good. Like, the English students in a bilingual school would always crack jokes at the French students saying, haha, what you got for lunch today? A baguette? Oh, where's your croissant, Frenchie? And it was more funny than anything. I was part of the French class for, like, the longest time up till high school. I never gave a shit. It was just funny, and it made me more hungry than anything, because I really did want a baguette. But, like, a common thing I hear is a lot of Americans think, oh, you guys live in 24/7 snow, you go out from your igloos to collect your maple syrup on your polar bears on the way to school. You know, I've unironically heard that several times.
Yeah, the thing is, I hear those, but I hear the igloo thing a lot more about Alaska than Canada. Because, you know, Canada, all Canada gets is,
I think,
you know,
even
hockey
some Canadians
so.
think that Alaska has igloos. It probably does.
Yeah, I think it does, yeah.
But
because do you guys have polar bears?
We do have.
I mean,
like,
you know what I mean.
Polar bears are in the northern provinces and territories. They're not really down here. We've got grizzlies.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But that's about it. Like, I think I just live in that part of Canada where people are so surprised because this is basically just America without guns. It's like I'm literally in a border province. There's no difference between you guys and our guys other than that we don't have guns and your milk is illegal here.
So, what was that because again? Because hormones, something like that?
Yes, there's a certain hormone it's illegal, but a country is allowed to legalize it, and it's based on country preference. We don't legalize it, so your milk's not allowed here.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. But, like, the big stereotype for Americans is they're all 400-pound obese guys with a beard, no hair, baseball caps, sunglasses, covered in food marks, going from shop to shop drunk as shit.
Well, that's the thing about that is, you know, stereotypes are based on truth. You know,
there's got to
not
be
wrong.
some truth somewhere to you know, create the stereotype, which that is correct.
Yeah, no.
Although I do not understand where the hell the Canadian stereotypes came from. The we're all good at hockey thing, sure. The that yeah.
Well,
a lot of us do say
it's more so like the British guys like football, or I don't know if they call it football or soccer, but you know, they like soccer and you guys like hockey. It's a thing.
I guess hockey is our national sport, or no, it's not actually. That's actually a thing that a lot of people think, but our national sport's lacrosse, I believe. Which, do you even know what that is?
Yeah.
It's like, you have a tiny net on a stick or something? I don't know.
I got you, yeah, I know.
To be honest,
I think I've seen
Canadian,
like, one guy play rugby in lacrosse.
Canadian kids grow up thinking, oh, our national sport is hockey. It's more a stereotype that we ourselves believe up until we're taught in like grade 5 or 6. No, it's lacrosse, you dumb shit.
That's amazing.
It is. It's great, and it's also dumbfounding because, you know, Canada's been winning gold medals at the Olympics for hockey for years. The best players in the NHL are all Canadians. They just play on American teams, right? Like,
I guess.
like you do have quite a few players from other countries that are really good, yes. But I'm not saying like only Canadians can be good at hockey, but that's just where the stereotype stems from. And it's so strong to the point that we ourselves believe it. I just thought that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I can't think of anything like that we do, other than like what, you know.
You know what a modern stereotype that Canada recently adopted that I believe you guys had for the longest time, and only recently have Canadian citizens taken it in?
No,
Is the immigrant stealing jobs stereotype. Because,
you mean
like, how an immigrant only exists in our country to steal a job. That's a stereotype that has been with the U.S. for a long time, and we often disregard it. We don't like it, blah, 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 because Canada's a very welcoming country, but there's been a lot of stuff going on recently with our Prime Minister. So he's bringing in refugees, like a lot of refugees, to the point that we're so far in debt it's not even funny, and he's giving them the jobs that students should have, or part-timers, even some full-time jobs, meaning that we're at an economy where companies are more likely to hire someone not from Canada than help someone like basically save their lives because they need that money to keep paying rent.
Oh yeah, and double fault because looks good on them. They're all virtuous because of it.
It's the government looks good to the eyes of everyone else in the world. Oh,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
Canada just gave, 250,000, 500,000 jobs to random people they've never met before. But the second you come to Canada, like the depression rate for anyone between the ages of 16 and 25 has increased almost tenfold because of it. Like, it's actually absurd. There are so many people that can't find jobs or got laid off. Like, some companies go as far as to lay off their employees just to hire immigrants because the government covers partial funding for these immigrants. So if let's say you're a refugee or an immigrant coming to Canada and you need a job, the government's going to pay for, I believe, $9 or $10 of your $14 per hour salary, and then the establishment only has to cover the rest.
Oh, that is...
And I don't blame the immigrants. It's not them. It's 100% just the government just being really stupid right now, because yes, they're trying to help other people out, but they're at the same time they're ruining a lot of things for other people, and it's creating a bad stereotype for these immigrants. I've got a few friends that are immigrants that I met through my last job I had. I left that job for personal reasons. I'm not going to get into it. But these stereotypes really do affect these people a lot. Some of them can just shrug it off because they do think that way. There are a lot of immigrants that come here. They come here with enough money to pay for like 6 years of university completely, and they take the fact that they can get the job easily and then they use that to their advantage. And they know what they're doing. They know they're basically just taking extra money. And to be honest, I probably would too. That's a great opportunity to make extra money. But then there's some that, like they get called names and crap, and they just turn around and go, haha, whatever, I've got the fat stacks, so you can just leave.
Yeah.
But there are some that, like, my one friend, I'm not going to name him, he came here using, like, he has no money, basically, is what I'm getting at. He has absolutely nothing to his name. He came here to make a living for himself, so that way when he goes back home, his little cousins have someone they can look up to. And I think he's a great guy. He's working really hard, but it's gotten to the point now that he's suffering mentally from all this because he genuinely just wants to be there to help people while making his own living and then completing school. And every single time he goes into work, it's just the same racist remarks, the same stereotypical remarks. And it just sucks to see that because it's not their fault. It's the government, and this is a stereotype the government started, and I don't know. You wanted me to get political, so...
Yeah, I get you, yeah, but is it... Well, clearly, yeah, you have two ends they can go to. They can go towards the immigrants, which, yeah, sure, it's futile, but I don't know, man. I mean, they're going to feel a lot more, gratuitous about attacking the immigrants, but is there...
The biggest problem
really
is it's setting a negative image on younger minds, too. Because I don't know if you know the whole meme of, millennials or Zoomers or whatever, like the younger age tend to be more kind because they understand what the person on the other side of the counter is like feeling, right?
Sort
Like,
of. I mean, I know the reason. It's debatable, I think, but
I
the end
mean,
result, yeah.
you know, a lot of them have that McDonald's job where they just have to stand there for hours on end listening to these Karens come in after soccer practice with
Oh,
like
yeah.
a team of 10 kids, and they're never happy. Trust me, I've dealt with some people like that at Walmart. It's very upsetting. So I like on a personal level, I can understand that. I don't want to make any trouble. There are times where I go in for food at a restaurant, they'll get it wrong, and I'll just take it as it
Yeah.
is. But then you've got like, you know, maybe my stepfather or my mother's like, no, 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 just go back up to the counter and they'll fix it. And I don't want to cause them trouble. They didn't mean it. And if they did, then oh well. If next time I come in, if they're the same person, maybe I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But like, that image in Canada has completely changed. People are now saying young people, like the government's trying to portray it as young people are attacking immigrants because they're getting upset that we have no jobs. And we are getting upset that we have no jobs. We're not blaming it on them. We're blaming it on the fact that the government is making it only for them. I think the most straight up way I can probably say this is like, there's a friend I have, which he's probably going to watch this. Hey, I was talking to him before. I asked him why doesn't he reapply at a place he used to go, and his response was straight up. He said they're only going to hire immigrants or something along those lines, and that just sucks to think. It's like the most depressing thing, because why even try when you know you're not going to get the job, or maybe you'll get the interview, but in the end they're just going to give it to someone else. It sets a precedent, like a stereotype in your mind, because you think of it as they stole the job from me. No, they were given the job. Why wouldn't they take it?
Yeah. Now you're probably gonna need to explain this to me. There's a thing in Canada, called like the Nine Chamber, something like that, right? Like some tribunal, something like that. Basically, like what I need to ask is, how easy is it for an assistant to actually raise house about their issues?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it's not something
Well,
we can. Okay, so because of
Like-
the
like-
level of government that this was decided on, it's not something we can do easily, because this mainly only affects the more populated areas in Canada, which would be Ontario and maybe like where Vancouver is. I don't know where else. I don't talk to a lot of people outside of Ontario, and it's not really up to anyone in the provincial government. It's mainly like what is it? Federal? I forget the levels of government.
Federal, basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the prime minister himself is the one who's doing this and set everything in motion. Like our leader. We can voice our worries, but at the same time, I don't think anything's going to get heard. Plus, like, a lot of people don't want to speak up because they don't want to ruin these opportunities for these people. Because, to be honest, these people were in a lot of these people were in worse situations than we were. Being literal refugees. They were brought from their own country because they did not feel safe, some of them. They didn't like how their country ran, so they wanted out, and they were brought here. Why should we entirely take away that opportunity? We just want more equality in the whole scenario, because we live here, and instead of trying to divvy up things evenly and fairly, like a proper system, they just say go to wherever, do whatever you want, and take whatever you want. And it does not work. It works for them, not for us.
I know there's no way to fix this, no immediate way to cleanse out the people right now.
They're like the only way to do this would be to get on such a meticular level of organizing this stuff that it would cost way too much money to even bother. So if people start speaking up and if people get really, really angry and there's a huge movement forward, their answer is just going to be to kick them out, which is going to look terrible on the country. It's going to look terrible on this generation that people are saying, oh, that's the generation that's going to lead us in the future. We can't have that. And then it's going to lead more older people to keep working. So that way we can't take over for a longer time until we, air quote, learn our lessons. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah, the only way I see is in the country if the refugees go to where there needs to be construction work. But I don't know what that looks like in Canada.
The thing is, they can't really do construction work.
They can't do like road work or anything.
No, that's actually a trained job here, and the only time you genuinely do it when you're not trained is in a family business or someone. I mean, it makes complete sense in my eyes. Why would you want someone who's inexperienced with this stuff, or maybe they are experienced but they don't have the proper training for the machinery to work on someone's house, right?
Yeah.
The foundation might not be set. They might, there might be a fatal error, and it's not really their fault either because they're just trying to do their job, right?
Yeah.
They leave those for like the trained professionals, and I'm fine with that. Roads.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Roads. I don't really know what to say about roads. These roads are ass, and they never get fixed anyway. There's not really even a job market there.
All right, so it's just Canada's put yours.
But at the same time, the university, like, they come here for rigorous amounts of school. They don't get to take school easy. They have it harder than we do, because they have to study a lot more than we do. They need to be up to Canadian standard, meaning that they have to go back, study basically everything at high school level, while simultaneously doing it at university level, while trying to make enough money for a living. And it is pretty hard on them. It gets ridiculous. I had another coworker, or ex-coworker. He worked 2 jobs as well as university. He slept about an hour a day, maybe every 2 days. And the reason why he had 2 jobs was because he was one of those people that his family didn't have money. And it is expensive to come here for that reason. Unless he's a refugee and wanted to, like, state Canada was helping him out of his country, which he didn't.
Did he live there solo?
He came to Canada, I believe, with a cousin. The cousin had money funding from their parents, but he didn't. So he had to get enough money to pay his rent. And there were times he just wouldn't eat. Like, it's kind of depressing, some of the things these people go through, but at the same time, when they get back home, they have so many great opportunities, and some of them end up staying because they make amazing, like, they're amazing in their field. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the best doctor I've had so far is an immigrant. He came here to learn, like, medicine. He excelled at his job. The dedication it takes to do something, to come here and then learn it, is actually, honestly, kind of ridiculous. Because not that many people would probably put down everything to leave, like, home, leave family, leave everything, to learn something else. And that's what this man did. He came here, he learned medicine, and he learned, like, he just really cared about people. He didn't care who they were. He wanted to take care of them. So as soon as he graduated, they offered him a work visa, and he stayed here in Canada.
Yeah, the medicine guys are pretty, I guess, commendable, fair enough, because I assume, yeah, like you said, they had some standing in their origin country, but yeah, these people that don't have anything, and they're coming here because if they're taking the jobs that your friend wants, they had no standing back there, and they have no standing over here. They have nothing basically.
Yes, they have nothing, and they're trying to make something out of nothing. They're doing their best because they've been offered it. I'm not gonna blame him. I will never blame him, even if he had 2 jobs. He needed 2 jobs to stay alive. That's how expensive it is here. Like, they boost those dorm fees into the thousands. They boost, like, all the schooling. They say, oh, it's adaptive schooling, plus you're going to need to learn English classes on the side, which are going to cost more. You're going to need special programs, which require special textbooks. It is expensive.
Yeah, maybe it was right then, the Irish. Maybe it's right now, but I think it's just not fair. Maybe we shouldn't have done with the Irish. With them, coming over with nothing, just mere pennies. And just making New York.
Okay, the thing is, he paid for his way here. His family saved up for, I think he said, almost 6 years to get enough, because this is what he wanted to do. And he's not going to let this opportunity escape his hands. Because if he fails now, he's never coming back. Like, I don't mean he just came here because Canada invited him. Canada opens their doors for new programs every year, yes. But at the same time, you need to have a certain proficiency in English. You can't just come here without it. And you need to pay at least part way there. From there, in Canada, they'll allow you to work to pay the rest, and they'll support you however they can otherwise. The refugees are the ones that they just bring into Canada en masse, and it just kind of throws everything out of balance.
Yeah, from the border particularly.
I mean, another thing is, in my mom's school, like, my mom works in a school. She's an ECE. She takes care of smaller children. And can I just say, the next generation's looking fucked. The horror stories I hear every day are horrendous. Like, she works with 5-year-olds. We'll just go off topic for a second here. She works with 5-year-olds, and she has a student that's transitioning right now.
What do you mean by that?
At the age of 5, transitioning from a boy to a girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, good God. To pretense this, I have no problem with people transitioning, like trans rights, whatever. Yeah, sure, go for it. I'll never personally do it. I don't see a problem with other people doing it. But I am 100% on the side of they cannot make that decision until they're old enough to really understand what that means. Because right now, this is a 5-year-old that's taking these drugs, basically, to make him a girl, and in 10 years, he'll be 15. In 10 years, he'll probably think back... I'm not going to say probably, he might think back going, that was a fucking mistake. That was terrible, why would I ever do this? And if he does, then what kind of parent was his mother for letting him do it? And, like, you may be thinking, well, what's the father doing in all this? The father was 100% against it. Like, I've heard the story from him countless times. The father was so against it that it actually led to the couple's divorce, and he did not get child rights.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that scenario.
It is. It's terrible.
Well, I suppose we'll just veer back on topic on that, because everything's looking bad. It's we're dooming over here. Just sad hours.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah.
Like if you want to go one step further into the whole classroom, it's a shit show. It's like, these are 5-year-olds, by the way.
Overpopulated too. There's like 35 people, one teacher.
No, my mom is an ECE, so she's the add-on teacher that works with the actual teacher. She's the one that makes sure that there's enough people watching all these students. But she's got countless students that are depressed. She's got the trans student, or she's got like one student that they watched. I think it was they saw their mother kill themselves, which, I mean, that is a tragic thing, right? No kid ever wants to go through that. But instead of being actually depressed over it, she pretends to be, and it's fairly obvious that she pretends to be, and she has the school under her finger. This is a 5-year-old that's controlling people because, I witnessed something terrible.
I don't think they have that level of cognitive dissonance.
No. You would be very surprised by this. They figured it out early on that if they just cry, people are going to feel bad for them, and then they can do what they want.
Well, yeah, fair enough. You're right. Because
it's not the exact level of their scheming everything. It's the level of they know if they cry, people can't talk back to them because they can say, "Wah, mommy, where are you?"
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it works. So yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
like this is a generation that's probably gonna be after ours. Okay, there are kids in there that don't do anything but Fortnite dance unironically. Like that's not a joke.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get you.
We've glued to technology to the point where they have to remove it. There's a kid that beats teachers, and this kid should probably be expelled. Okay, but no, they're just dealing with him. Like, by dealing, I mean ignoring him.
Yeah, and then in the United States, you have, like, even in Mesa, man, like, you got. I've seen this even back then when I was taking school, like they assigned back when I was, they assigned laptops, like, assigned quote unquote, you check them out on the specific days you need to do something, did it, you turn in. But now they're giving tablets to kids to keep for the whole year, and they're going to keep it until they transfer out of the school. Like, what? Oh,
it's getting ridiculous. They're soon
they're
going to start trying to convince parents to buy the kid a tablet, and that they can keep through the entirety of their school career. That's something that has been up in the air here, which a lot of people don't agree with. And honestly, like, I'm on the side of I don't really agree with it because, I mean, think of it I'm missing a lot of social skills. There's no way to put that other than bluntly. And I don't think I'm leading a bad life. Actually, I'm quite happy where I'm at right now. But I do understand the fact that I could have been probably somewhere different if I were more on track.
Yeah,
and
me too. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, technology is a very large part in where I'm at right now. Like, I got into technology kind of late. I say this all the time. I was probably around 10 or 11 when I had my first, like, interaction with it, other than an old CRT TV. But from that point on, it just escalated, and it gave me the love for what I love today. It's great, but at the same time, like, I was so infatuated with a lot of this stuff, I could have been using it to put towards, actually working towards what I want to do in life. Right now I want to become a teacher. That's been my dream for a few years. I got sidetracked because of something else. I won't go into that, but that's what I want to do. And realistically, I could have been done that next year.
Fair enough, but on one hand, it's
technology
just
is
more
required, but they don't teach it in moderation. And I think I think the biggest thing for that is, to be honest, like, our parents didn't really understand that it needed to be taught in moderation. So there's no blaming them. Our parents, right, like when we were growing up, it's your dad would not have known that you would have gotten glued to video games, and it would have become, not a problem, but like a love,
thing
right?
about that is actually my dad was more against it, my mother was more for it actually. Like buying locks to keep it from the power cord stuff.
Really?
Now yeah. Now you have a point about the antisocial thing, fair enough. But saying, it's pretty much a sunk, like a sort of you saying you would not pursue cooking because you did video games and stuff. I mean, sure, but
no. I'm never gonna say 100%. I would have done something different because I didn't have games.
Yeah, because that just caught your ambition.
I won't lie. A lot, and I mean like a embarrassing amount of my free time goes into games and side hobbies and stuff. I'm not really the best kid. I don't do a lot of chores. Like today, I did my first chore in a long time. I mainly keep to myself. I clean my room, and that's pretty much my life. That's all it's been, and I know where that stems from. When I got into games heavily, which was around the time I got my PS3 for like my first ever console that was mine, other than the handhelds, which was my PS3, I would sit in my basement playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with my friends for like 14-hour sessions. An unhealthy amount of time.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that. I can't even. I don't think I was ever able to pull off that. But like Black Ops, even with Black Ops, I did.
It's
maybe 2 hours.
I mean, the saying "time flies when you're having fun." It really does. That is true. That I love my friends. I miss a lot of them because we don't talk anymore. And I still talk to a few, but we can never really get into gaming at that level again. But that's where neglecting normal everyday habits kind of started, and that's become the daily habit ever since. And I think moderation would have really worked. Now, I still have a problem with a lot of games, because if I don't log into my gacha games daily, I kind of have a mini freak out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm missing dailies, I'm missing free resources, I don't want to spend money.
Yeah, that
is a terrible mindset. Gacha games are a bit different though. It's like, imagine TF2 has a daily service where you log in and you get a free drop immediately.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I got into. Oh man, I think Kinmoza had that. I tried that for a few days. I mean, even non-gacha games like My Brain Age, right, and Fitness Box, those things have gacha systems.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Even games that have just the daily reward system, you miss a day and you freak out. And I think people just need to be taught that it's okay to miss a day with a lot of these things. And this doesn't just apply to games. If you miss, the newest episode of a show, it's still going to be there tomorrow. You don't need to cancel whatever you're doing at this immediate moment to go watch it. And, if you missed the latest drama on Twitter, so what? You can just recap it later if you're really that interested, or you can just not worry about it because it's not going to be important tomorrow.
Or what you should do is just wait for it to unfold, because it's never the same as when it starts.
Yes, I am very much the type of person that, eats the onion. I won't lie.
Never heard of that.
I will not lie. You know the Onion, how they make fake articles and stuff that try to trick people?
That's what you meant.
I'm the type of person that eats the onion. I'll just eat up anything I hear immediately, and I forget to fact check. I've been trying to be better on that recently, because there's been a few things I talk about that were completely not true.
Hope it wasn't on the show, was it?
No.
Okay.
Probably one was, I think the last one was, I was talking to my parents about, there was a person claiming to be a DC fan that got beat by Marvel fans after coming out of Shazam because Shazam was the first good DC movie in a while.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was a tweet that exploded, and I never really looked into it. I just saw the screenshot, and I was like, damn, because it was bloody teeth in a towel, and then she didn't have teeth in her face. And it was holy crap. I was like, hey, did you hear about this? And I looked into it later, and yeah, no, that was a fucking onion. That was so not true. It was a real tweet, but the person did it for pranks. Just to be a fucking prankster. And she came out afterwards, literally an hour later, and was like, you guys are gullible. Holy fuck.
I wonder if the Onion actually got baited on that. Oh, no, guys, this is serious, before...
it's...
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I do eat a lot of onions, unironically. It's a problem.
I've never heard of that, eating the onion. Is that your thing?
No, it's there's a subreddit called Ate the Onion, which the entire concept is people freaking out over fake articles, and then people screenshot the freak out and post it there. And it's kind of funny to read through some of them because you look through it, it's like, oh, someone's freaking out because the end of the world via zombie apocalypse from Coca-Cola is starting, and they're like a 40-year-old guy is screaming on the internet, "Stop drinking Coca-Cola, you'll turn into the dead. We're all gonna die." And it's funny. It's really funny, and that's just where the term comes from.
I guess you could say that that's a stereotype of old people, that they eat anything. Yeah.
The second you see something on the internet, if people are above the age of 40, they'll just believe it. They don't need to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, I'm 40.
I think oh yeah, we're getting hitting 20.
Yeah.
I know it's not that old, man, but hitting 20, I'm no longer a teen. The last thing I said before, I don't know if I said it just to you, but the last thing there are 2 more things I'm not legally able to do. Drink beer and run for president of the United States.
See, I can drink
beer. It's crazy.
Because Canada's drinking age is 19.
I mean, more so, oh no, we're the same age. So
I can't smoke though, which is weird.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, smoking.
I can drink beer, but I can't smoke. Like, what?
Smoking's 21 or something? Like, I
yeah,
thought smoking
smoking's
was 18
21.
in the US. Oh, that's weird.
No, I'm never gonna smoke. Just to throw that out there. I just find the whole situation kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one drug, but you can't have the other.
Yeah. Well,
I think I can even smoke weed now though, unless that's 21 too. I think that's 19 though. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, at least here I'm not able to because thing is we were thinking because my father's all crazy about well not crazy. I mean, like he's a pretty spiritual guy, right?
Okay.
Like religious at least. Like Tao Te Ching and whatnot. And I think he read somewhere that like it's like the sound of the story is basically he tried. I don't think he did. Maybe my grandpa did. He tried using medicinal drugs once. No, my dad did actually once. He tried using took something for medicinal purposes. Like, well, actually just the experience of it. It was otherworldly. So he was thinking, oh hey, well, we should go do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm for just one time as an experience. Yeah, sure, why not? But I think I'm too young for that. No, wait, no. It's because in Montana I am able to do that legally. Just we gotta set a day for that.
Yeah, that's a thing I hear a lot of people say that, oh, I'm all against drugs, but then someone's like, oh, come on, just an experience, and then they change their mind.
It's just more, I don't know. He's not trying to get me hooked on. Don't take that way, all right?
Matt, you're gonna get hooked on drugs. Stop.
I mean, no. I mean, no, I won't, man. No, don't worry. Maybe I don't know, man. I gotta read up what Jesus says about this. All right.
Sorry about that.
Because Jesus. I think all he did is whine. I don't think he gotta read see that's the thing I gotta read that.
Jesus, Jesus hit the hookah.
Maybe 40 days in the desert. You got something going on with him? Yeah?
Oh yeah, it's too much time to not hit. Like at least a vape pen.
No man, just like we talked about last episode, yeah, that heat haze gets you, hallucinate, yeah.
Oh yeah, that wasn't heat haze. Let me tell you.
Deepest lore, yeah. But
I feel like I've gone on long enough about stereotypes.
Yeah, I want to wrap this up. Yeah. Oh man, the central message I have is message. Look at me being all preachy. The main thesis I have is just they exist for a reason and act on them accordingly until proven otherwise. That's it. My appeal to moderation. Look at me being a centrist, all nuanced and stuff. How boring, right? Unironically, it is boring.
You are quite a boring person. I can't attest.
But let's move on to our new feature. Can't be without. So what that is, it's right off the coattails of talking about stereotypes. It's Alex and I are going to come up with two subjects, two entities that are linked that you wouldn't think of otherwise, and the other person has to either accept it as that makes sense, or reject it with a reason. So, for example, pretty popular one, I've never seen a thin guy drink Diet Coke, right? And then Alex would, say, oh yeah, I agree with that, or say,
I can see. Actually, no, I can't see that.
Wait,
you say thin guy?
Yeah, I've never seen a
thin guy. I thought you said fat guy. Sorry.
I'm
a little tired.
All right. Yeah, I get you. Okay, so I have 4 of them right here. Alex, I didn't tell Alex about this until today.
Oh, so how many do I have to make?
Just make as many as you want. Just whatever come to your mind. All right, so here we go. I've never seen a road with bird droppings on it. Because the cars are gonna The cars get hit them if they stay on there too long. You know.
Oh, so you've never seen bird dropping?
I've
from
never
the
seen.
road.
Oh, that never happened. Nope. We're talking.
You know what?
I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that. That's
'cause
weird to
the thing
think
is,
about.
yeah, like I see white stuff, but it can't be. It has to be paint splotches. It's no way it's bird poop. You know, it's too big. And you know,
eagle was flying over,
huh? Oh yeah, man. Yeah, Arizona. It's quite likely. Yeah. Next one. I've never seen a black guy named Williams.
No, I don't agree with that one.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I've met someone named William that's black.
Because I know that one Fresh Prince thing. It's like Master Williams. I think it was from there. Fair enough, but that's just a TV show. That doesn't count. All right.
Yeah, but think of it this way: there are people that name their kids after TV show characters. So there's bound to be several fans of that show who, you know, are also just so happen to be black that name their kid Williams.
Well, I mean, I'm talking strictly last name here. Right? I guess
if it's last name, you really can't know. I mean, for example, like my family's heritage is strictly like French with a bit of English, and my cousin had a black baby because her.
Okay, yeah, that really muddies it up.
Like it you know, things happen, and then whatever happens, it just changes things. So now there's, like, have you ever heard of a black kid named Trudel?
Well, no, I haven't. No. I've only heard Trudeau named by Trudeau. Yeah.
No, Trudel.
Trudel. I've never heard of Trudel, actually.
Trudel is the French name that we have. So that kid's last name is Trudel.
All right. Fine, okay, then we'll mark that off right now. All right, this is a weaker one. Sorry about that. It's I've never seen a teacher not drive a BMW.
My cooking teacher drove a motorcycle to work.
Oh yeah, man. I actually had a teacher. Actually, no, that's wrong. So I did. I had a teacher who rode a motorcycle. It's a little weird, you know, like not a cool guy. But
it is weird to see, because your idea of teacher, the stereotype for a teacher is, you know, older guy, maybe like mid-30s to late 40s.
Oh, I mean, here it's primarily female. It's got like 86% female.
Oh, I mean, like females for elementary school. High school, it's guys.
Even in high school, man. Like I've only had three, maybe.
I've had
we had normal teachers.
We had the female teachers, but it was majority male, and I don't think a single one of them drove a BMW. I actually had one teacher say he hated BMWs because he was worried that the wind would just blow it off the highway. No, wait, that's one of the bugs, the little, like, the tiny cars, not the BMWs. BMWs are just pricey.
Yeah. All right, then. Germophobes and racists are inextricably linked. You have to be a germaphobe to be a racist. What do you think about that? Because, you know, those are.
I think you can answer this one, honestly.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna do that. Yeah. No. It's just you know, they're both highly exclusive traits. You know. I think it is. Look, man. You know, just because it depends on how much consistency there is to the germaphobe thing, right? Because you know, if it's universal, you know, but if it's because, you know, being racist, you do exhibit a little bit of germaphobe tendencies, you know, just because of race, right? You know, I don't want to touch that, right? So it's yeah.
Yeah, racists are messed up people, huh?
If they're, you know, germophobia, you know, it's
germophobia is not something I really blame anyone for. I mean, it makes complete sense. It probably sounds terrible to say, but like going to another country, like let's say you go and volunteer in Africa.
Yeah.
I would probably be hesitant about like shaking hands even.
Oh yeah.
But that just comes down to, I'm afraid of like the diseases they have there that are so common that they aren't affected by it, whereas I could probably catch it and die. And that's just me being paranoid more than germophobia.
Yeah, well, they give you shots, but
they do give you shots, but I mean, shots don't always prevent everything, right? They help prevent things.
Yeah.
You can still experience stuff. Best example is they tell you not to drink tap water from any country but your own when on vacation. Because even though you get shots, there are things in the tap water that they're completely immune to, but you're not so much. So you get, like, you know, a bad stomach bug.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the product doesn't taste good anyways. You know, because, I mean, even here it's hit or miss, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, tap water here is really bad. But, like, I hear tap water in places like England or Asia is filtered much better. And it actually tastes pretty good because, you know, they care. Unlike us. But no, like, example, we buy water bottles because our tap water is disgusting.
I know, that's insane. I've never. The only water I would buy, I don't know if you heard of these brand. It's called Arrowhead. They make they're the best water brand, honestly.
I've never liked water bottles. They always have an odd taste. But we live in a town with a steel plant, and it does contaminate the water source. And even they filter it and whatever, but it still tastes like ass. They filtered out the bad shit, sure, but they didn't filter out the taste because they're cheap fucks. So I've resigned to cancer bottles.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you say? I agree with that. That link.
Which one was it again?
Germophobes and racists.
Oh, sure.
All right, okay, that's going in. All right, so let's go into something. I don't know what. So
just the pool of agreed ones.
The pool of inextricably linked characteristics, or objects or entities. Yep. Hopefully you have some. I don't know. We're gonna do this again.
You can't.
These are pretty timely. Yeah.
You can't have elementary school without pizza Thursdays.
Yeah, I can't say I've had pizza Thursdays. Yeah.
Well, like you bring a toonie in for class, you get a slice of pizza one day a week.
Paying for pizza? I've never heard of that. No.
Wait, what?
No,
you guys
no, because
not pay for school food.
No, because okay, yeah, that okay. I just thought you meant get delivered into the what do you call it, classroom, right? I mean, sure, we had a variety cafeteria. Sure, yeah. But
We
pizza was
don't.
every day.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't have.
Like
cafes.
yeah, that was the Italian section.
Okay, you know what? Going back,
day.
I feel like maybe that was a very Canadian thing I said, because we don't have school cafes here, unless you're in high school, and even then, high school cafes tend to be ass anyway. But in elementary school, the school would straight up just order pizza to the school. So you bring in a toonie on Wednesday, and then they'd mark down all the names of people who bought pizza and how many slices, and then Thursday you'd get your pizza.
Right. How much does a toonie get you?
2 slices.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I guess.
It's $1 a slice, right? Oh
Well,
yeah, toonies
depending on
are
pizza,
Canadian
yeah.
$2 coins, by the way, for those
Yeah.
uncultured or American. Wait, that's the same thing.
Got him. Who? Yeah. We have a. Yeah. All right.
I don't know. I can't really think of many. Like, you can't have Dungeons without Dragons, right? Oh, woo, what a hilarious and original.
I actually like that. It was so. I love it. Speaking of which, that is a. By the way, guys, that's a hint for. No, it's not. That's not a hint for Rockbusters. That's not on there actually. I was gonna put them on there, but I didn't.
Oh.
In fact, I'm running short of them. I think I have. Let me see how many of these I have. I have about 7 of these left, so I gotta make new ones.
Here's one for the memers.
All right.
You can't have pizza without pasta.
Oh yeah.
You don't get it.
No, I don't. Sauce. Pasta without sauce.
No, it's a meme song.
Mike.
You ever heard
on
of
my
Pizza
balls.
Time?
Oh yeah, pizza time, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, lyrics to it.
I never no official lyrics from the.
I don't think so. No, it's definitely not official.
You
100% not official.
You're talking about the one that goes pasta, bleedy. Is
No,
that the,
pizza and pasta.
piccola,
Put it in a
piccoli,
box.
piccoli,
Deliver
yeah.
it to my house and put it on my cook.
My cock, pizza on my peenie and a salsa on my balls. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. I wish. Yeah. It's great.
Come on, it's popular enough. If you watch Vinny, you probably know.
But pasta, pizza.
it.
Do they say pizza in the song? I don't think they do.
Pizza. It's the very first word said. Pizza.
Pasta. Okay, fair enough. All right. Hey, Reddit guys, haha. Vinny's pretty Reddit, isn't he?
I don't know. I can't come up with any others. Like, if you want to take the Dungeons and Dragons one, you can.
Nah, man, we'll come up with more next week, and yeah.
Oh, I have
So
to
whenever
think
we do this,
for once.
yeah.
Oh God.
That's okay. No. It's just whenever experience it and then say, oh hey, that's something.
You can't
It's something
have
you
EA
accrue.
without microtransactions.
I like it's very topical.
Haha.
Yeah, and that's kind of even Nintendo at this point.
All right. What's?
There.
Well, you got
Yeah,
another one.
last. No, that's actually it.
Oh.
Or it can't be without the premiere of the feature. Although the last thing we have is the Sizzle reel, where we talk about the
man.
Detective Pikachu movie. I haven't seen it. Alex has.
It is very good. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the general consensus is, if that movie is based off a video game, you don't watch it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Because if it's a live-action movie based off a video game, you're just gonna get another like Street Fighter movie or Assassin's Creed movie or literally any horrible movie I can name.
Yeah.
And honestly, everyone, like, you know, think back to the first time you saw the live action Pokemon. It was kind of weird, right?
What is the live action Pokemon? You
Well, I
just mean the
mean,
trailer of the movie?
like the CGI, like the first trailer.
Oh yeah, it was pretty
It
bad.
was
Charizard. Yeah.
it was out there. It was something that you didn't know if you were comfortable with. But to be honest, as time went on, people kind of just realized, well, what the hell are we gonna be comfortable with? These things are freaks of nature. And you know, once you get past the style, you'll think maybe I'll watch the movie because it might actually be decent. I, for one, was excited from day one because I love Ryan Reynolds as an actor. He's my favorite actor like ever. I love his content. I love what he does. Except Green Lantern, that movie can die in a fire. But I was really excited for this movie, and when I went to watch it, I went with a friend, Jay. Jay is, you know, a great friend. Talk about him sometimes. We both really liked the movie. And there's a lot of subtle hints that Pokemon fans really do understand. I'm not going to talk a lot about the story. The story was a fairly good cut and paste of your average detective film.
Except one thing. There's one thing I don't get. Spoilers, guys. Alex. Okay. So
What's the one?
I want this to explain to me. How is the guy Pikachu's dad?
Mewtwo.
What do you mean?
So
Mewtwo's?
part of the big premise of the movie was the main antagonist wanted humans and Pokemon to live together in peace. So Rhyme City is a place where battling is actually illegal, and you're not allowed to catch Pokemon, which is the main city for this whole thing. Pokemon get to live in their own freeway, and people get to live in their own freeway as well. It's a system that actually worked out quite well for the movie, and it depicted how things changed. Like, before I go back onto the story concept, because you want to know more,
Well, I just want to know. All I want to know is how does Mewtwo create this stuff? How does Mewtwo instantiate this little, thing relationship?
Mewtwo is probably the most powerful living Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because he was created. Well, okay, but let's be real
here.
Here.
One, yeah, okay.
Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, those are considered god Pokemon. They're not considered just a living Pokemon because they exist in their own realms, like outright. Like they are not on Earth. If you travel Earth, you will never see them unless they visit.
All right, fair enough.
That's different. Right. Mewtwo is a clone of Mew, or like a mutation from Mew's cells.
Okay. So
Mewtwo is an extremely powerful Pokemon. It's said to be like one of the first Pokemon even before Arceus, and was there for the creation of everything and gained immense power from it. However, it died out from extinction millions of years ago. Mew isn't even in this movie, actually. They don't even know that there's a Mew alive, but they do confirm the canon of this movie relates directly back to, I believe, the very first Pokemon movie. Either that, or it relates back to the game, now that I think about it, Red or Blue. Or Green for Japanese people.
It's basically the first movie.
It's kind of weird to describe, but they say the events that occurred in Kanto, and when you think about that, what massive events occurred in Kanto with Mewtwo? Mewtwo broke out of the entire establishment, created clones of Pokemon, and fought Ash, right?
Yeah.
And then Ash got turned to stone. It was very, heartfelt.
Is the guy in the
scene
movie Ash,
kitties.
or is he some guy?
No, the guy in the movie is not Ash. I think it's Tim.
Okay.
It's not Ash. He's pretty cool though.
Right.
The main characters were great, by the way. The Detective Pikachu was awesome, very quirky, very good character. I felt like it portrayed a Pikachu good, even though he could speak to him. And that's the thing with a lot of the Pokemon. They give a lot of personality to the Pokemon. But I'm getting off topic.
Yeah.
The main antagonist.
I just want to know how they made either they somehow made the Pokemon, or they took a human.
No, the main antagonist figured that the best way for Pokemon and humans to live together is to literally merge them together, because he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
So he used Mewtwo's powers to basically disintegrate a human and then put their mind in a Pokemon's body. And Mewtwo can do that because Mewtwo's really, canonically, Mewtwo's really powerful. All the Pokedex entries, that's not anything beyond Mewtwo's strength. That's perfectly capable of him. So what Mewtwo did was, a big part of the story is finding out what happened to main character's father. trying to retrace the steps, look back, and it's fairly obvious thinking about it in retrospect. I'm very gullible, so I don't see these things coming a mile away half the time. I don't really want to anyway. It's such a great feeling to experience it in the moment.
Yeah.
But the story is his father worked with, the Pikachu to help capture Mewtwo by going to Kanto and actually just bringing it back because he's one of the greatest detectives in Rhyme City.
Yeah.
Once he realized Mewtwo was being used for evil purposes, which was, basically killing the entire city and merging them into Pokemon, what he did was he tried to set Mewtwo free. In that, however, the company didn't like that. He set Mewtwo free, and they exploded his vehicle and nearly killed him. His Pikachu straight up was like a Pokemon can't really heal a human very well, and Mewtwo's not a healing type anyway. There's no, Mewtwo probably could if he tried, but not very good at it. So his Pikachu offered his body to his father in order to try to save him until, things settled down and he could get proper treatment at a hospital.
And these guys aren't under the captivity of anyone right now, which is why they're able to do this?
Yes, the car blew up off the side of a highway and fell off a bridge. So Mewtwo puts his dying father into Pikachu, but because, his father literally almost died, he doesn't have any of the memories while in Pikachu, which is why he can talk to his son but doesn't know who he is.
That's pretty cool. All right, yeah.
And at the end of the movie, after everything's settled and, the day is saved by everyone, Mewtwo reveals the whole, ho ho, that's your dad. And he separates them and, he gets medical treatment and everything goes good. I was not expecting to see Ryan Reynolds in the movie. I was just expecting to hear him. And it was pretty funny because there was a guy, right at the end of the movie, you see Ryan Reynolds come out and he's like, I'm sorry, son, for not being there for you and all that blah, blah, blah shit.
Oh.
And the second you see Ryan Reynolds' face, some dude in the theater screamed, "Oh my god, Daddy!"
Yeah,
it was amazing. Oh my god. Honestly.
Yeah, do they reference Pokemon XD or the Coliseum games? Shadow Logy or anything?
No, if there is a reference, it's probably through a newspaper during one of the detective scenes or maybe a newscast news broadcasting. A lot of the references are how the Pokemon act. They have hundreds of Pokemon in that movie. And that's not an understatement. There are actually... I would not be surprised if they had 300 plus Pokemon.
How far does this go, generations-wise?
Every generation. Every single one. Including the newest one. Which I was surprised to see as well. Because there's some Pokemon that I didn't recognize because I haven't played Sun and Moon. And, I couldn't even name them. And that is such a weird feeling to see, sitting right next to a Tangela. Tangela's a Pokemon... You know what I mean. It's a Pokemon that hasn't been seen in so long, and now all of a sudden it's just there. They brought back the Jigglypuff meme from the Pokemon show as a little cameo meme. It was pretty funny. Jigglypuff got all pissed off because one of the people at the bar it was singing to fell asleep, and there wasn't a marker, but it looked like it was holding one. It was a nice thing to see. It really brought back that, a child in me type thing, because I'm just a man-child.
Yeah, that's how they get you, but,
But the movie, all in all, the story is not what you're watching it. It's a story that a child would definitely enjoy, and by child I mean probably anyone under the age of 16 or 18. Teenager and under, because it is quite a brutal movie. There is a lot of action in it. And there's only one scene I can actually say that I did not like the CGI, which was a huge battle scene where one of the experiments they were experimenting on were
Torterra or something?
Yeah, Torterra. And basically we're trying to make giant Torterra. And they did. These Torterra were the size of about 10 blocks. So you got to see 3 of them literally lift the ground with them with the cast on the back. And it was epic. But one of the parts, the main character falls and he jumps off a cliff and grabs onto the other one. And the speed, direction, and angle that he was falling, his fingers should have snapped off. Because he only grabbed the cliff barely by the tips of his fingers, literally. There's no way in hell he has fingers anymore. That bothered me. That was something I was physically bothered by during the movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still just a movie. It's all in good fun, right? But they have Pokemon acting how they do according to their Pokedex entry.
That's great. Yeah.
And not just one. I've said this before to a couple friends. They ask, Pokedex from their original game, the first one they were in, or is it like all from Sun and Moon? It's like, no, every single one. They read every single Pokedex entry and made sure that each Pokemon stayed in line with that. Like, did you know some games reference that Ditto can transform into anything, whereas other games reference that it has to be a living thing?
No, I didn't know.
So, anything biological is... anything that lives and is biological, that it has seen. That is the rules for Ditto, if you condense all the Pokedex entries. And they followed those rules, because Ditto was an antagonist. And there's other Pokemon, like there's these little mushroom Pokemon, they followed the rules for those ones too. They followed the rules for Gengar, they followed the rules for Charizard, they followed the rules for even Magikarp, which was amazing. Also Psyduck. So Magikarp was really cool because it was during a scene where it's like an illegal underground fight ring where people can like bet on Pokemon to fight, and you know, fighting's illegal in this town, so huge thing. Basically, one of the things they were doing with Mewtwo were they were extracting his blood and turning it into a gas. And part of the plan for Mewtwo's to work is the Pokemon has to be willing to let a human take over their body for it to work. So instead, they used Mewtwo's blood to create something that made the Pokemon enraged. They didn't have a brain because they were just mindless monsters. When they were mindless monsters, a human could easily take over. It was kind of an interesting premise, but like the crap kept getting released and pissing off a lot of Pokemon. So they were trying to... the Charizard from the trailer got into a fight, right? And it got enraged and it was going to kill the main cast. And Pikachu just goes, breaks a fish tank and pulls out a Magikarp. And he's like, come on, Magikarp, come on. And it starts kicking it. And the main character looks at him and is like, what is wrong with you? That thing's not going to do anything. And Pikachu just straight up references. In one of the Pokedex entries, it says when a Magikarp is under immense stress, it will most likely evolve.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
It was amazing because that's something I remember actually reading. I think that's from Fire Red. I remember reading that.
James, yeah.
And it's just something like, what do you mean you remembered to do that? What do you mean? 90% of that movie is seeing these Pokemon, remembering you reading the Pokedex entries, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, how did he... there's got to be a point in the movie where he figured that out, because he lost his memories. What do you mean? You know, there's got to be a point... He had to have read that somewhere from after he lost his memories.
He didn't... Okay, he lost his memories of who he was, but he still had his wits, more or less. Like, his common sense, his general info, you know.
That's not common sense.
It is in their world. You don't piss off a Magikarp. Fishers have to be careful. Right. They actually mention that too. Because you piss off a Magikarp and your fishing boats get, like, gone. Like, straight up.
Right.
But there was another one where, you know how Charmander, if his tail goes out, he dies?
Yeah.
They didn't reference that, but they referenced Charizard's tail for once. So Charizard's tail, I believe, it's written in one of the Pokedex entries that his flame is so, like, it burns so hard, it works underwater. It's almost impossible to take out a Charizard's tail flame. And I think it might have been a movie that they referenced it, but like he started stomping on the Charizard's tail flame to weaken him because he knew it wouldn't kill him. And when the Magikarp does evolve into Gyarados because it gets pissed off by the purple smoke and being kicked, the Charizard gets completely engulfed in water and it burns underwater. You can see it burning underwater because that's what the Pokedex entry says it can do. They were very strict with the lore. They made sure everything that happened in this movie is something that would genuinely happen if Pokemon existed. And I'm very grateful for that because it's a love letter, really. The movie was a giant love letter to longtime fans.
That's great. Yeah, I'll check it out when it's on Blu-ray. Yeah, because you know me, real stickler for this stuff.
Yeah, you like your home quality.
Well, yeah, not giving them a WB.
Oh,
true.
I see how it is.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that brought a smile to my face is the beginning of the movie. They had the Warner Brothers symbol. I think it was Legendary Studios that did a lot of the graphics. And then they had the actual Pokemon Company. The movie was overseen by Pokemon Company, which is why it's so out there. And you know that these movies don't like to work with the source material. Look at the Dragon Ball movie series. They did not work with like the author or Shonen Jump.
Well, was Final Fantasy VII Advent Children in-house?
That was made by the actual devs. So the Final Fantasy movies are a bit different. There's one for 7, one for 15. Those were made by the devs to be a continuation or prelude, for 15's case, of the canon story. So those don't really count because it's not like someone licensed it. It didn't really go to theaters. Seven's movie, for example, was included as a part of a limited edition, I believe. And 15's movie was a pre-order bonus, or a deluxe edition inclusive. I've got the deluxe edition game, picked it up for $10 when the game got like massive hate, and I like the movie alone is $10. By the way, you should check it out. The movie alone's worth the 10. So, but yeah, no, Detective Pikachu. You don't watch it for the story. If you're not a giant fan of Pokemon, I'd even say still watch it if you get the chance. It's definitely a good movie, and it should be precedent for how, you know, these game movies or live action movies based off of non-live action material should be going forward. Like, it wasn't out there like the new fucking Dora trailers that we're seeing for the live action Dora movie, where she brings a knife on a field trip, everyone. It's not absurdly different like how Sonic's design is. Like, every Pokemon, they're real, so it looks weird, but they look like they would look if you actually thought about it. Probably the only one you can really even complain about a bit would be Gengar, because how are you going to draw a ghost? They're not real in the first place. But even then, Gengar didn't look bad, he just looked interesting, to be honest.
Is he furry at all?
No, Gengar's a ghost.
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering how they made him.
No, he's more spectral, if that makes sense.
No, that doesn't make sense to me.
Imagine, you know the ghost from Ghostbusters? Literally just that, but purple. And instead of goop flying around him, it's like a purple haze. That's exactly, like, it's the best way I can describe it. It was interesting, but at the same time, it makes sense for Gengar.
Yeah, it looks pretty right, yeah. Just that A-palm. I don't know, the screen, yeah, the A-palm looks pretty bad. What's up with his eyes?
That's weird. The eyes are what happens when it's enraged by that smoke.
Okay, gotcha.
But I mean, how would an A-palm really look? Let's be honest.
It's down its, hand.
Not when they're angry. In battle, when they're pissed, they go on their front and they use their hands for, like, there's a fight scene between a horde of A-palm and the main character, and they're keeping their tail hand free to beat the shit out of him. But, when they all settle down, because the smoke doesn't last forever, they just jump away on their hand, I think.
Suppose, yeah. Launch himself, yeah.
I don't know. It's a really good movie. I very much enjoyed it. And I've said this probably 10 times just in this podcast. Check it out yourself if you want.
Yeah, and suppose that includes all the features we got this week, yeah? Good stuff.
Wow. That was fast.
Oh, no, it was the contrary. It's actually the longest one we've done yet.
Nice.
I'd say, yeah.
That was slow.
Depending, yeah. Oh, yeah, quite. All right,
well,
I'm just going to... All right, I'll just go to the start of the episode with the 3 Rockbusters. Alex, play us out.
All right, so our ending song today is going to be called The Milk-Colored Mountain Pass, which is the opening song from the video game Atelier, Escha, and Logy on the PS3. It's a song I really like. I like the aesthetic of the game, which led me to the song. And I hope you guys will like it too. We'll leave a link in the description.
Yeah, it's pretty alright.
And for the Rockbusters, we got Out Came a Kid with a Spear-Wearing Armor.
I was going to, I told him to just go to the beginning of it.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Alright, sounds good, alright.
Out came a kid with a spear-wearing armor. She was expecting but wasn't expecting that. B. With something that huge, how do they know where it is? LP. And Homer came back to his desk to write his poem, and it was gone. LO. Take it easy, everyone.
Yeah, have a good one.